All right, hi friends. Today we're going to talk about multiplying binomials. This is the second method that I want to show you. The first method is FOIL. This is the box method. Both methods will do exactly the same thing, and it's important that you use whatever makes sense to you. I learned to multiply binomials using FOIL, so that's what I'm most comfortable with. However, there's a lot of really good things about the box method, and one of them is that you can use it for more than binomials. We'll talk about that at the end. So let's run through some examples and talk about how this works. So if I want to multiply binomials, remember bi means two, we have two terms getting multiplied by two terms. And these are two things that are not like terms, so they can't be combined. So I have x minus 1 times 2x minus 3. So I'm going to start by drawing a square, and then I'm going to divide that square through the middle horizontally and through the middle vertically so that I have 4 equal squares inside my square. I'm going to write each binomial on one side of this on the outside. So on the left side, I'm going to put my x minus 1. I'll do that by writing x next to the top row on the outside and minus 1 next to the bottom row on the outside. Then I'm going to look at my other binomial, 2x minus 3, and it's going to go on the top. So the 2x will go over that top left column, and the minus 3 will be written over that right column. All right, now what we want to do to fill this in is I'm going to multiply the things on the outside together and write their answer inside the square that they correspond to. So I'm going to take that x on the top row and the 2x in the first column. I'll multiply them together to get 2x squared, and I'm going to write that inside the top left square. I'm going to move down next. So I have a negative 1 multiplied by a 2x to get negative 2x, and I will write that in the lower left-hand square. Moving to the right column, that x on the top row times the negative 3 in the right-hand column gives me minus 3x, and I'll write that in the top right square. And then finally, negative 1 times negative 3 gives me a positive 3, and I'll write plus 3 in the bottom right-hand square. Now, one thing you'll notice is that my like terms are on the diagonal of this square, minus 2x and minus 3x. That helps me be able to group up those like terms. So I'm going to then write out what is written inside the square. So I'll start with 2x squared. Then I have minus 2x and minus 3x gives me minus 5x, combining those like terms, and then a plus 3. This is equal to the product of x minus 1 times 2x minus 3. So you can see the box method is just a different way to organize our multiplication so that we can get an answer. We could have just as easily done this by FOIL and gotten the same answer. Okay, let's work through one more. So again, let's write down the problem first. We'll do 3x squared minus 1 times x plus 2. Again, I'm going to draw a square. I will divide it vertically down the middle and horizontally across the middle, just like I did before. And then I'm going to place my binomials on the outside of the square. I'll start with the first one of 3x squared minus 1. So I will write the 3x squared outside the square next to the top row on the outside. And then I'll write the minus 1 on the bottom row outside that square, so that 3x squared and minus 1 are on the left side of my square. Then I'm going to fill in my x plus 2. So I'll write the x above the left-hand column and plus 2 above the right-hand column. Now we want to go back in there and multiply what's on the outside to get what goes on the inside of the square. So I'll start with the 3x squared row. 3x squared times x gives me 3x cubed, which I'll write in the top left-hand square. 3x squared times positive 2 gives me plus 6x squared, which I will write in the top right-hand square. All right, going to that bottom row, I have minus 1 times x is negative x, which I'll write in the bottom left-hand square. And then minus 1 times positive 2 gives me minus 2, which I will write in the bottom right-hand square. Now, if I look at the contents of my square, I don't have any like terms. That's okay. It's just helpful to check before I write it all down. So I'll just copy down what's in my squares, and I'm going to do it in descending order of powers just to be organized. So I have 3x cubed from that top left, plus 6x squared from the top right, minus x from the lower left, and minus 2. And that would be my final answer, the multiplication of 3x squared minus 1 times x plus 2. You can use the box method for any other multiplication of binomials that you wanted to. You can use it with square roots. You can use it with i's. It will work no matter what. It also works if you have maybe a binomial by a trinomial. So 2 terms multiplied by 3 terms, which can get kind of messy. So in my next video, I'm going to do a binomial times a trinomial, once with FOIL and then once with the box method.